The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Watermelon.
We're going to talk about growing watermelon.
Yes.
Can everybody grow watermelon?
Based on the type of watermelon, and yes, with an asterisk.
What about in Antarctica? Can you grow watermelon?
Nothing can grow in Antarctica except for penguins and ice.
Ice grows there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Seriously now, most people, based on where you're living, you can grow watermelon. Now, the watermelon that you can grow is not going to directly reflect the type in which you're going to purchase at your big grocery store in your town, because the variety is different and the time and conditions in which is required to grow those big, giant watermelons are very dramatically different than where you are in most situations.
Right. And so, yeah, so the biggest thing is that you want, if you are in a northern climate, you want something that will grow from seed to harvest within 90 days. And there's no hope lost because there are options.
Right.
Yeah.
The big giant watermelons that you see, they are grown primarily in a lot of situations in the South.
Yeah.
A lot of heat and a lot of water, and those things love them. The watermelons love the more heat, the more water you can give it, the better off it is. And that's great if you were living in the South, but most of us aren't living in the South.
No, absolutely not. And one of the things is that you want to do, no matter, I guess, probably where you live, is you want to just direct sow them because their roots are very fragile. Now, you can technically start the seeds indoors, but when you direct sow them, you take less of a chance of causing damage to the roots. So you can just direct sow them. You want to make sure your soil temperature is going to be over 65 degrees consistently. You might be excited to put your watermelon seeds in the ground and then you get like a little bit of a cold snap. It's probably not the best for them. You might have to replant them. So definitely make sure you're at the right temperature.
Fun fact here about watermelon, Holly. China produces alone more than 60% of the world's watermelons.
Wow.
And the United States, most watermelons come from Gainesville, Florida. So there you go.
How many?
60% China produces worldwide watermelon.
How many come from Florida?
I don't have that statistic.
Oh.
I just know that's the majority of where the United States watermelons come from, is Gainesville, Florida.
I thought because I know, like, I've seen the trucks where they're like from Georgia watermelons, Alabama watermelons.
Right. Top 5 producing watermelon states. Here we go. Arizona, California, Delaware, Florida, and Texas.
Delaware. Interesting.
Yeah. Go. Right. Okay.
So back to watermelon planting.
So most of us who are listening, I know we have download of all over the world and in the southern portions of the United States, but for you who are listening in areas that are in relatively, challenging times to grow, watermelons, there is watermelons. We've grown watermelons in Zone 5 where the show originates and in our backyard.
And we're going to talk about what kind we grew.
Right. And we were able successfully to do that because we were able to keep the water to those watermelons, and we did it in the straw bale gardening method. And that is a way of the breaking down the process of breaking down the internal portions of a straw bale in order to create a soil mixture inside of it for the plants to feed off of. The moisture is retained more relatively than in open, unmulched soil. And that's how we were able to successfully capture a watermelon in our backyard.
Yes. So with that being said, you want to keep in mind that you want to direct sow, and then they are going to vine, so you want to give them a lot of space. You need to plant them at least a foot apart and give them room to grow. Now,
each watermelon here, you're not going to get like 5 or 6 or 7 watermelons on a vine. Your best scenario is 1 to 2 watermelons per vine, because a watermelon takes a lot of energy to produce the melon in which we are harvesting. And the plants know this, and they will kick off or detach watermelons that they are trying to grow in order to focus energy on other ones. You can accelerate that by making sure that there's only 1 or 2 watermelons on that vine, so all the energy is directly into those melons on the vine and not waiting for the plant to decide which one they're going to get rid of. Pollination is also a key there, and we all know that as well.
Yes. That is the key, is pollination. And then they are heavy feeders, so you want to make sure that you have very nutrient-rich soil. If you don't, you can always add some sort of...
couple bags of compost.
Some compost, yep. You can also, partway through the season, go ahead and add an all-purpose fertilizer. You could do a liquid or granular, whatever it may be. Just make sure you're not disturbing the roots or the vine. And if you have a little bit of a sandier soil, that's okay for watermelon.
So do not disturb the soil, which means that watermelons take a lot of water. So set up your DripWorks irrigation system, or your tree diaper, or your tree hugger sprinkler system at the time of planting. So all you have to do is, just hit the button, or just let it do its natural thing if you're using a tree diaper. So you're not disturbing that root system, because these are fragile plants that if you wave at it wrong, it's going to die. Type of thing. You want to be very careful of how you go about weeding around the plant and feeding the plant as well. Now, keeping the days of harvest under 90 days in the cooler climates is a key here. Now, Jung Seeds, JUNGSEED.com, has watermelon seeds available for larger watermelons, 10 TG23, to save 10% on your order. Now, they do not have the specific watermelon that we're going to talk about. So, disclaimer there. These were seeds we got many years ago.
I also want to mention that
Yes.
when they do sell these seeds, wherever you find them, they sell out fast.
Yes, because of the availability that you can grow watermelon in a climate where you typically are not able to. So, we grew a...
It's called Cream of Saskatchewan. And... It's kind of just a normal looking watermelon, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. 5 to 10 pounds is what they will get in great scenarios. I think ours was like 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds, and we didn't do the very best gardening parents that we could have been for that watermelon. It has a rare white flesh, round white flesh internally. Some have more of a yellowish tint to it at the time of harvest. When to harvest your watermelon? Well, you can get in fist fights about this type of information. We allowed the watermelon to basically detach itself from the vine on its own, and then we knew it was time to harvest. Now, if you're in an area where you can't do that, or you have creatures and critters that are going to want to consume that watermelon before you do, which we had one prior to the harvest of the one, we've got it on our parent or on our YouTube channel, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, Watermelon in Wisconsin, something like that, where it shows that we harvested it. But you want to, do your research. There's many different techniques and or theories about when the best time and how to harvest a watermelon. And some are true, some are not. Some work sometimes, some don't work other times. But Cream of Saskatchewan watermelon is what we were able to grow. 5 to 10 pounds is what they typically will get if all conditions and situations are correct, which that's a decent sized watermelon. It's not, a watermelon you get at the big box store is like 8 to 12. Maybe you squeeze out a 10 to 15 pound, at some point at a box store.
On some level, the smaller ones, they call them like personal size
Yes.
watermelons. Yeah. So that's basically what this is. I remember it being sweet.
This was several years ago.
Did it have more of like a cantaloupe flavor? I don't remember, but no, it had a watermelon flavor.
It had a watermelon flavor.
Yeah. Now you can grow other melons too, but watermelons, I know a lot of people want to grow them and they want to have success. So we definitely recommend checking out the other varieties like the Sugar Baby, the Blacktail Mountain, and I think Moon and Stars is another one.
The Cream of Saskatchewan will take 80 to 85 days to reach maturity. So you're in that 90-day range. And if you haven't planted watermelon and you're wanting to plant watermelon, do it today. Today, get it in the ground, get it hydrated, get the best opportunity to get that watermelon to mature before those colder nights come in about 90 days is what we're looking at. So anything else we need to add about watermelon?
I really don't think so. I think that everybody should try it.
You're gonna fail.
Yeah.
That's just part of the deal. Be aware that don't expect that your first watermelon, if it does great, don't expect it to be PBS, we made it work and everything's great type of watermelon. You probably would fail. So if you have the space and to do this, I would recommend doing it in the ground. It could be done in a container, but do it in the ground. If you have the space, do 3 or 4 or 5. Increase your odds and see how that works out for you. If you're in a southern area, you've already got watermelon planted, or you have the time now to plant because you're going to have a much longer duration, and you can grow, if you're in Arkansas or Tennessee or Alabama, Georgia, those areas, you're going to have that opportunity to grow that much larger watermelon over a much longer time frame to get what we up here in the north go, oh, that's a good watermelon, clink, clink, clink at the store, and we pay like $6 for them, and we think it's great.
And sometimes you can find better deals, but just like anything else that you grow yourself, it's going to have better flavor, taste fresher, and it's a reward.
Walton's has great deals as well for us, Holly.
Yeah, we are brought to you today by our sponsors, Walton's Inc. We know you care about where your food comes from, canning, preserving, growing your fruits, vegetables, etc. But what about the meat? At Walton's, you can get everything you need, equipment, seasoning, supplies to make sausage, jerkies, meat sticks, your way to your high standards. You want to make some delicious meat sticks. Meatjuststicks.com has an informational site to help you make the best finished product. They have a full line of their meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's, everything but the meat. We got a code for you here. Use code GROW50, GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more. That's waltonsinc.com, code GROW50. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.